Thank you. Going over the monthly reports. Honolulu Fire Department. Thank you.
Aloha kako. Firefighter Varus, Engine 33, second watch. So regarding statistics, they represent the confirmed number of incidents in the particular geographical area of Pālolo for the previous month. For more details on these specific incidents related to mapping information, please visit Fire Response Map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. So for the number of incidents, we had one nuisance fire. That's defined as rubbish fires that occur outside of a structure or a vehicle. We had 30 medicals, and then 2 motor vehicle crashes or collisions. No structure, wild brush, cooking, activated alarms, no mountain rescues, no ocean rescues, of course, and then no hazmat or hazardous material incidents. Other than that, and those numbers, just want to make sure everybody has kitchen and fire cooking safety up front in their mind. So while in the kitchen, please do not leave cooking unattended. If you must leave the kitchen, turn off the stove. Keep items such as oven mitts, wooden utensils, towels away from the stovetop when the stove is off. And never store any items on top of the stove or cooktop or inside the oven. Always keep a lid nearby to smother any grease fires. And only plug in one heat-producing appliance, such as a coffee maker toaster, into an outlet at a time. And create a 3-foot child and pet-free zone around your cooking area to make sure that we keep that house fire at a 0 here in Pālolo, guys. So any questions? Okay, be a first. All right. Thank you so much.
Mahalo. Honolulu Police Department. Aloha. Do we have someone from the Honolulu Police Department?
Here.
I think you're muted. Lieutenant, you're on mute. Lieutenant, do you want to try and turn off your camera? See if it works better, the connection.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, sorry, I had to switch. I don't know what. I thought. Okay. Anyway, sorry. District 7. So we're gonna begin with the statistics. So motor vehicle thefts, we had 10 burglaries, 4 thefts at 11. Unauthorized entry into motor vehicle 7. Total calls for service 6,075. And going into, so we've had a recent thing of wet weather, going into our wetter months. So our tips are just going to be on flash flood preparedness. Things that are good to know. Learn the best routes to high ground where you live, work, and play, and travel should you need to evacuate. If your area is prone to flooding, keep emergency materials on hand, such as sandbags, wood, and plastic sheeting. Do not allow children to play near streams or damaged ditches. These areas can quickly become deadly. And of course, do not attempt to drive or move your vehicle through flooded areas because parts of the road may have already been washed out or the water might be much deeper than it appears. Okay. And that's it we have for the tips. Any questions for us?
No questions here. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mahalo. Next, we have the Board of Water Supply.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Dominic Diaz with the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Happy to announce that we had no main breaks in the month of October in the valley. So, Waiomau Homestead Water System Improvements Project is about 90% complete. The water line's been installed. So it's just the finishing work, chlorination, and then energizing the line. Pālolo Water System Improvements Part 3. So this is a water line project in the back portion of the valley along 10th Ave, around Carlos Long and around to the other side towards Waiomau. Is about to start when this other project wraps up. So I'll keep you posted on the progress there each month. We don't have any other general water announcement this month, but we did want to make a plug for employment opportunities. We have a lot of vacancies at the Board of Water Supply and actually throughout the entire city. So if anyone's looking out there, boardofwatersupply.com/jobs. We're looking for engineers, IT, administrative support, customer service, everything you can think of. So if you're interested, take a look, and I'd be happy to take any questions on behalf of the board at this time.
No questions this evening. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'd like to go over board business. Approval of the regular meeting, written summary for October 9th.
Chair Asuega, I'd like to add on an agenda item to approve the regular meeting written summary for video record for the minutes that were sent out with our agenda dated Wednesday, October 9th, 2024 as well.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
It's gotta be 7.
Aye.
Thank you. Mahalo, Darlene.
So with the approval, I'd like to motion approval of the regular meeting for video record for Wednesday, August 14th and October the 9th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mahalo.
I'm going to assist the chair. So right now we're on 3.2, filling of vacancies. So we have 1 in sub-district 1, 2 in sub-district 3. Are there any residents interested to be a part of our board? I see none, Chair Asuega. So we can move on to 3.3. And perhaps you can read that.
All right. 3.3, absence letter for member Turbin. We'd like to read a letter from him. Dear Chair Asuenga Fola'au and Vice Chair Mao, first off, congratulations on your appointments as Chair and Vice Chair of Pālolo Neighborhood Board. I apologize that I have not been able to attend the last two Neighborhood Board meetings. I was recently elected and confirmed as Chair of the Democratic Party of Hawaii. And with the incredible amount of work I will need to do as Democratic Party Chair, I will not be able to meet the commitments to serve on the Pālolo Neighborhood Board. Therefore, I will have to resign as a member of the Pālolo Neighborhood Board. It has truly been an honor serving on the Neighborhood Board for over the past 3.5 years. And I appreciate everything you both do for the community. Thank you both for all of your hard work for the community, and despite my resignation, I hope to stay involved with the Pālolo community. Sincerely, Derek Turbin, Chair of the Democratic Party of Hawaii.
So we set aside the 3 absence letter, of course. That's
Yeah.
set aside. No motion needed.
So the board is accepting the resignation. And moving on. Okay, moving on. For presentations, we will actually bypass that one. Department of Parks and Recs will be with us next month. Moving on to 5, report from permitted interaction groups. We have Dan Donnell with the Trees for Pālolo.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Chair and members of the Pālolo Neighborhood Board. I'm Dan Donnell with Trees for Honolulu's Future. We have a initiative in the Pālolo community, thanks to your support, to increase the urban tree canopy. And the Neighborhood Board, as a reminder, earlier this year created a permitted interaction group, of which there are 3 members of the board are on that. That is Renelle Asuega, Dallas Ige, and Juanita Kawamoto. And we submitted a report last month pursuant to Sunshine Law, because you can't take a permitted interaction group and take it straight to action. And this month, here to answer questions, and we actually have 2 proposed actions to discuss that we came up with that are on the agenda. But just as a quick background, we've held 6 community meetings so far this year. Over 40 Pālolo residents have attended 1 or more of the meetings. And the purpose of these meetings are to generate ideas on how to increase the urban tree canopy in Pālolo. And next week we'll be meeting again and really narrowing down the actions. We also, and I will try and share my screen here. We had one of the ideas was to look at government lands in Pālolo. And so let me just pull up a map here. It will be a lot easier visually. Does people see the map of the valley? I hope so. So just as a point of reference, Pālolo Valley District Parks right here in the center. And these starbursts represent different parcels of land owned by the state or city government. And this came out of those 6 community meetings. And so I went out with a resident of Pālolo who also coincidentally works for the city, and we looked at the different parcels as it related to the idea of community gardens and growing food. Pālolo Valley doesn't have a community garden. Other areas of Honolulu do. So this area A is right by the fire station. And there's a parcel of land along the stream here. It's very interesting to us. The Azamu Park up here, really community volunteers have done a fantastic job here with their effort. And right across the street, there's some other city parcels here that potentially could be used. And these other ones here, none really made any sense. They're very small. Access is very difficult. G, just for point of reference, is actually Pālolo Homes, the plantation, where there was a very successful cleanup, and that was many thanks to Councilmember Say, his office, as well as 808 cleanups, and Jackson Sayama and others came out. It was really a tremendous effort. And then towards the Mackay side of the valley, very small parcel here, didn't make much sense. And then this D is the park that is actually here, Pukele Park. Doesn't make sense for a community garden, but could certainly use more trees. So I'll stop there and share and just see if there's any questions before moving on with the agenda.
Anyone have any questions? No questions this evening.
Okay. So just to move on, then there are two items that we wanted to bring up for discussion for the board to consider. And let me just call that back up. And I have to share a different file. So the first is, I'm actually not sure which way this is listed here, is the resolution I'll take up first. So this is a proposed resolution. Again, we tabled this last month from the neighborhood board, and I'll just kind of highlight things. It talks about the initiative here, Trees for Pālolo, increase the tree canopy, food and community resilience, and that's the key one to this resolution. And then to really take advantage of the expertise that we have that we can bring to bear. And so basically this resolution is calling to say there's 11 community gardens on Oahu, run by the city and county of Honolulu, none in Pālolo Valley. And food security is one of the key things of the Trees for Kaimuki grant. And it's really just a call for the neighborhood board, excuse me there, to urge the city to consider Pālolo Valley as a location for a community garden, and then to report back. And then it would be to send this resolution to the director of Parks and Rec, the city council member representing Pālolo Valley. Of course, that's right now Councilmember Say, but it's soon to be Councilmember-elect Nishimoto, and the mayor's office. So I will pause there and answer any questions, and then Chair, if you wanted to take this up for potential action by the board, that would be terrific.
Did you need a short form of the resolution, Dan, for us to act on?
What do you mean by a short form?
You know, like, because I have trouble remembering. I'm in favor, I'm strongly in favor of it. And that that we send a resolution urging the city to consider having an urban garden in Pālolo Valley.
Yeah, that's exactly what this resolution is calling for. It's just more verbose than you are. So
Can you share the resolution
Sure.
and read it out loud, please?
Okay. So the resolution is requesting the city and county of Honolulu consider establishing a community garden in Pālolo Valley. And so the whereas clauses are just providing the background and the establishment of the permitted interaction group. And the real the meat of it is the be it resolved clauses. The first is the urge the city to consider it as a location. So you're not demanding anything. You're just asking that location be working with the permitted interaction group for suitable sites potentially and report back to the board an outcome. And then who would get copies of this? And it's because community gardens falls under the Parks and Recreation that it would go to the director and then for the council member and the mayor's office. So that's what we would be asking for, is really alerting the city and Department of Parks and Rec to work with the permitted interaction group and then report back to the board. So it is a request by the board that Pālolo be considered for establishing a community garden.
Chair Asuega, I move that we adopt the resolution on behalf of the Pālolo Neighborhood Board requesting the city and county of Honolulu to consider establishing a community gardening program drafted by Dan Donnell of Trees for Pālolo.
I second the motion.
Chair, I have a question. So was this resolution included in the materials that were sent out to the board? Or I saw it on the agenda, but I didn't see a
It
resolution.
was distributed at our last meeting, if you can recall.
Yeah.
And that's why we don't have a copy in front of us today. And that's why we asked Dan to post it on the screen. But if you're not prepared to vote on it,
I was just curious.
we
If
can entertain questions.
it was included in our last
Yeah,
packet, that's fine. As long as the public had a chance to take a look at it.
Yes, it was included in the last board packet.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Dan. Out of all of the areas that was highlighted on the map, what number did you feel strongly and confident about?
It probably the most confident is the parcel right next to the fire station along the stream. And there were some good advantages to that one. Nobody's using it now, so that, there's no like competing use. Second one will sound a little funny, but it was important, which is it's fenced off. So that's a big advantage. So there's not a lot of cost to securing the area. But there's some unknowns there as well. Most specifically, water. Like, how could water be there? And presumably, that could be from the fire station. That they have water, obviously, but there would need to be accommodations made. But that would be the whole purpose of this resolution. It's not to say this is the site. It's to say, city and county community gardens, can you work with the permitted interaction group and explore pros and cons of the sites? But in short, that was kind of our initial favorite site. And it's also close to Pālolo homes and it's centrally located, and some pretty good on-street parking there. That's another consideration. So a lot of positives to that particular site. And it's, of course, owned by the city today.
Thank you. Does anyone from the public have any questions? Nope. Okay. The board ready to prepared for vote?
So we have a motion on the floor. So we will call for the vote.
We need a voice vote. I don't think we do. We need a voice, what's it called?
No. No. Okay, so all in favor, please indicate so by raising your right hand. All opposed? Darlene, you raised your hand. Okay, motion carried.
Chair, I have a question. I think for future, I understand that the resolution was in the last packet, but if we are voting on an item in this agenda, it should be included in that packet. Just because the public doesn't always get to the last meeting.
I agree.
That's the process.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. And I saw Darlene's thumbs up on the screen here, so I appreciate that, and appreciate the board's action. And we'll work with the neighborhood assistant on finalizing it and then sending it out to the parties called for in the resolution. The second item that the permitted interaction group came up with that we wanted to bring forward, and again, it was in last month's packet, unfortunately not in tonight's. It's probably a little more, how should I say, I will just put it up. It's a little bit more complicated, and let me just share what it is. This came from a resident concerned. This is the Kaimuki Shopping Center along Waialae Avenue. Everyone is probably very familiar with it, but I wanted to start first with some photos. So this is looking down Waialae Avenue. And of course, this is Times Supermarket and Long's. And, you know, there used to be more trees along here. You can actually see stumps here. And I'll go to the other set of pictures here. And again, apologies because this was in the report last month, but not in your packets now. And then this is along Fifth Avenue. Right here, Waialae Avenue. And, you know, there's planting strips here, but there's no trees. So one of the residents who participated in our meetings really pointed out, like, this should be, you know, it's the gateway to Pālolo. It should really have trees. This is private property. So that's the first thing I have to stress here. This is not government property. And here's where things get a little bit more, not convoluted, but complex. It actually sits in the neighborhood board boundary of the Kapahulu St. Louis Diamond Head neighborhood board. And it's actually where three neighborhood boards meet the boundaries. So the Pālolo neighborhood board comes all the way up to Waialae Avenue, right across the street, if you will, or the middle of Waialae Avenue. The Diamond Head neighborhood, Diamond Head, St. Louis, Kapahulu has the actual property, but the Kaimuki neighborhood board comes right up to, I guess that's Fifth Avenue right there. So anyway, so as part of that, and recognizing every neighborhood board doesn't want to step on the other neighborhood board's turf, if you will, I did reach out to Winston Welsh, who happens to be on our board of directors, but also the chair of the neighborhood board. And he was interested in this as an opportunity to maybe go in jointly with a letter, but he saw it as a bigger issue, not just one private property owner, but an opportunity to encourage many property owners to upgrade their landscaping and, you know, be more green, if you will, in the community. So, and then the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board, Brian Kang, I have not spoken to yet on this. So in short, I did draft a letter that the original concept was for the three neighborhood boards chairs to get together and write a letter. But I'm here to say I think it's premature because it's, you know, there's not alignment yet. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is just for discussion, is to get the sense of the neighborhood board. Is this an issue that you want us to kind of pursue, or is it an issue that's not important? Or yeah, so I will just stop there. But I'm not asking for no action tonight. The permitted interaction group's not asking for anything, but we do want to understand your thoughts and ideas around this. So I will stop there and take questions.
Chair,
Hi. Go ahead, Huck.
thank you. Can we say that there's a sense of our board supporting action in this matter, in the sense of the board, rather than a formal vote?
Mm. Yeah, and I think you know, not to step on the chairs, the board can certainly do what it wants. Where I'm a little hesitant is I don't know exactly what you want to do, and then, like I mentioned, it's actually not physically in your board boundaries. It obviously a prominent feature for Pālolo. Many residents go there to shop, and you know, you pass by on transportation and other things, but that's where my hesitation was. We're kind of stretching onto some other neighborhood boards' turf.
Thank you, Dan. I think at this time, we appreciate you bringing awareness to the public and to the board. We'll definitely keep it in mind and look forward to your information, like, you know, going forward when you connect with other boards as well.
Okay, yeah, and I'll find out more from the Diamond Head Kapahulu St. Louis Neighborhood Board chair. That's where it's physically located. And I'll mention it to the Kaimaki Neighborhood Board. I guess I just want to find out, is it something that is of interest to you, or is it not that interesting? Because I don't want to invest time on it if it's not important to the neighborhood board. And it, you know, I don't want to exaggerate. It wasn't like 20 of the people who attended our meetings. It was really one individual was pretty vocal about it. And that's why I brought it forward.
Thank you. I understand and I appreciate it again. At this time, I think we just appreciate you bringing it to our awareness. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention, Dan?
No, that's it.
Okay.
And I thank the board for your support. We do have a meeting next week at Pālolo Homes next week, Thursday. And I want to stress not just to the board members, but to the members of the public that you know, everyone's invited to attend and participate. So, and we do have a email address. I'll put that in the chat, and hopefully that can be in the minutes as well.
Mahalo. Thank you. All right, moving along, we have resident community concerns. Oh. I'm sorry. There was a question in the chat. Dan, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm on. I'm just reading the chat question here.
Okay.
Yeah, so the question in the chat, just for everybody, if you don't see it, is Pua from Councilmember Say's office. who happens to be a member of the Kaimuki board. I did not know that, Pua. If the owners of the Kaimuki Shopping Center agree to participate, planning on considering only tree or possibly hedges. And the answer is we don't want to dictate anything to the owners of the shopping center. What we wanted to express was, here's an opportunity to create some green infrastructure. We would love to see some trees. It's a challenging site because of the narrowness of the planting strip, but really it was to express interest for beautification, and there are trees that would be appropriate for that site. So the answer is it's probably a combination of trees and ground cover or hedges, but I think it would be foolish for us to try and tell someone what to do. Thank you. It's a good question.
Mahalo for the
Thank
response.
you.
Thank you, Dan and
All
Chair.
right.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, 6, resident community concerns.
This is your opportunity to speak, and if you just understand that the item cannot be put on the agenda tonight, though. Okay, thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Nate Doobie. I'm the manager for the Oahu Invasive Species Committee. We just wanted to come to the neighborhood board meeting tonight with representation from the Hawaii Department of Agriculture to discuss some ongoing koki frog control operations happening in Waiama'o Stream, and make ourselves available for questions that the community may have or that the board may have. Essentially, what we are embarking on is a multi-agency response for a population of koki frogs that have expanded a little bit from behind the orchid nursery and downstream. And so as part of our island-wide response, we're trying to get a hold of this population so that it doesn't continue to spread and impact things like property values and ecological functionality of the forest in that area. The frogs are also spreading a little bit right now up towards La'i Ridge on the other side of the stream. We're having, OISC is having monthly representation, and I believe the Department of Agriculture is having even more so than that. So from the OISC standpoint, you folks can always reach out to us about koki frogs or any of our other target species or other invasive species that you may have questions about. But at this time, I'll turn it over to Jessica from the Department of Agriculture so she can speak a little bit about the department's activities.
Hi, I'm Jessica Mira. I'm the acting land vertebrate specialist with the Hawaii Department of Agriculture. Just to give like a little bit of history, how long we've been working with this population that's back there. We first detected it back in 2017. We've been going out pretty frequently. We actually have guys out right now tonight doing a survey and capture response. But basically, we've done multiple treatments already. And, we kind of want to just come here and talk to you guys and just, I know a lot of residents are concerned about it, it's spreading and whatnot, and we're trying our best to kind of contain it. And I also wanted to kind of like, if community has any concerns or anything that they want to, what can they do on their part to help preserve what they have on their property, or, what other things that they can tell their neighbors or other residents on what we can do to help manage the population and preventing it from spreading further. Like Nate said, you can contact us at any time. We're both working, both agencies are working together on this situation. One agency alone can't do it. It is a bigger population, and just with the landscape that is back there in the stream, it makes it very difficult for us to just traverse, as well as where the koki are located, a lot of trees, high trees. So, we're just here to like kind of just talk about if community wants to come up to us and, talk about anything, or if there's anything that they want to ask, like what can they do on their part, we're here for that. And then, in the future, if you guys want to put us onto the agenda, we'd be more than happy to come out and speak more formally about it. Just here for the presence and just here to answer any questions the community has. Yeah.
We appreciate that. Any questions?
Is there a contact?
I have it on there, but then I can also give you guys a separate contact for us as
To
well.
give to the public? Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the public? Oh. Sorry, can you introduce yourself and your name, state your name?
I'm Gary Zane. I live on Weimar Road, right across from Calmo and Orchid. I talked to you, Jessica, once before, and your predecessor. I talked to her quite often. And I've seen the progression of the Kokies, and as they moved off of Calmo area and down the valley, I've been letting them know that it's getting worse. And when I talked to Jessica, I heard that it's even going further down the valley. I hope we are able to control this, because right now my son's bedroom is on the street side, facing that area. He sleeps with all his windows closed and AC on, even though it's nice and cool now, but just to block out the noise. So that's my concern, is that it's going to spread, it's going to get louder. My side of the street has not had Kokies. I mean, we caught the one that was on there, but hasn't been coming over. Your staff has come over to our side and sprayed the forest, I guess, with the water hose to see if they can sound off. They haven't sound off on our side. Hopefully it keeps it that way. I invite you guys to just drive up Mall right now. I took a recording right before I came, and they're just going off right now. So, thank you.
So they're gonna start. We're getting into the cooler months too, so that means that they're gonna stop calling and breeding a little bit more. So at that point, we may not know how bad the population is until like spring, summertime. So what I would recommend is, what we want to do is have the public just look out, be our eyes and ears, because we're not here 24/7 like you guys are, or like, like people who stay at home, or, we don't sleep here at night and hear the Koki. So, knowing where the population is always good. Like, I know sometimes it may not be always like good news, like, like, oh, it's getting louder, but at least it's drawing enough concern where we're trying to get more involvement. And even, like if residents, just so that residents are aware and, cooperate with us, that, whether it's have access to the property to capture frogs or survey the property, or as well as treatment, like we just want to make sure that we can get everybody on the same page about Koki. Yeah. The treatment? Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Sydney Lynch, and I live in the back of Waimau, and we have the Kokies, and they've been coming out to spray for them. And I'd like her to tell the board how they treat for them.
So currently, the only treatment that we are allowed to do and is most effective is citric acid treatment. So what citric acid is it's kind of like a granular compound that you use for like sodas or other beverages. So it's basically kind of like a food additive. It is food grade. We only use food grade citric acid when we're doing treatments, and we use it as 16% solution. So meaning it's not as like a full 100% granular citric acid just being, sprayed out in the forest, but it's actually a solution that is very biodegradable. So meaning like once that citric starts coming out of our hoses, or we start spraying organic matter, it's already degrading. So the way citric works is that it's effective against ages. So meaning the eggs, the little baby frogs, as well as the adult frogs. Eggs are the hardest because of that, their eggs are really protective. So citric acid at 60% solution is found to be most effective. So that will be sprayed, but in order for it to treat effectively, it has to come into direct contact with the frogs. And that's where we're having the problem with treatments, is that a lot of that land back there is preservation land. So the preservation land means like there's no development, so there's no homes, there's no buildings, there's nothing that's landscaped back there. It's basically just all vegetation. And the frogs are all in that vegetation, whether it's leaf litter on the ground, it could be in like there's a couple of banyan trees back there. It's all in, it's in the crevices of the banyan trees. So that's what makes it difficult for us to do treatments. And we have to do multiple treatments just to treat one area. Like we also have to think in the fact that if we were to treat one area, there could be movement of the frogs to another area. So we take that into consideration when we're doing our treatments, because we don't want to push it further downstream. We won't want to push it further upstream. It's very difficult to get back there in the stream area. So that's currently what we're doing. There might be other options in the future, but the only legal treatment for coqui frog is the 16% citric acid solution.
We have any other questions?
This is Gary Zane again. I heard in the news you guys treated another place with the sprayer, the spraying that. Yeah, how effective was that? Would that be able to be used here?
Yeah, so OSC is also a part of that multi-agency response where we are testing out drone aerial treatment in the dark hours for the coqui frog population over there. The reason that we're testing this out is because there's a population. The main reason we're testing this out is because there's a population of coqui frogs in Kuli'o'o, just on the leeward side of the Ko'olau Summit. Really inaccessible by ground, pretty much no other way to treat. Our initial tests, there were, some hiccups that we would expect in any kind of initial step in an experiment. There are several other scheduled sprays that will be coming up and we'll be testing to try and increase the efficacy. But ultimately, they were only able to get about 26 gallons sprayed in a very small area of a much larger infestation site. So the answer, in my opinion, is we don't really know yet how effective that is, but we're still confident that it's going to be effective. We just need to do a little bit more testing. And for Pālolo specifically, I don't know that this site is going to warrant that necessarily. But if it does, it's definitely with a tool in the toolkit that we're going to utilize should we prove it to be effective and should the parameters of the site demonstrate that tool is needed.
Thank you so much. And go ahead.
My name is Ken Tuglao. I'm the education specialist for Hawaii Department of Agriculture. I just want to make note that Hawaii has no native amphibians here. So if people are thinking about treating this coqui frog problem, we're trying to get rid of it, especially in this area and other areas in the state. And then also, we are just making note that the citric acid is food grade citric acid. It's mixed with water. And like Jessica was saying, it is biodegradable food grade stuff that we drink or intake as humans in our soda, our drinks. So if people are scared of pesticides or when they hear that treatment or pesticides, just be aware that we're using food grade items and water to treat this problem. Yeah. And getting support and getting access to homes if we do hear a frog is one of our biggest hurdles. So just having people aware that we're here to help get rid of the problem and trying not to give us access to get rid of these frogs is something that everyone should think about. It just takes one pregnant female to give birth to like 20 babies, 20 to 40 in one clutch, multiple times in the year. So if we can get rid of this early on, we can have a very quiet Pālolo. Yeah.
And sorry, I just want to quick things before I turn over the microphone. Part of the reason that this population has expanded, and part of the reason, like Jessica has mentioned, that we need multiple agencies dealing with this is because there's not enough funding or capacity to go towards this. You folks might have heard that the state legislature passed a $10 million biosecurity bill, of which a lot of that is going to the Department of Agriculture. A small amount of that is actually dedicated to Koki. And OISC and a lot of the other experts who have been working on invasive species management, including our organization, which does have a Koki frog eradication back in 2008. So we know that we can do it. Should we have the capacity? We don't have the capacity right now. And so in terms of board action, there has been discussion with folks from the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board and the Kuli'o'o Neighborhood Board of potentially drafting a joint letter to encourage the increased funding and increased capacity support for operations like this. Because for invasive species control, the cheapest time to deal with this is right now or yesterday. The longer that we wait, the more expensive it's going to get, and the higher the unlikelihood of eradication, meaning that we could be living with Koki frogs forever, and it could sound like Hilo all over this island. And no disrespect to the folks in Hilo, I'm very sad that that has happened over there, but we don't want that to happen here. So in your discussions with other folks across the island, just know that it is a huge issue. It's going to continue to be an expensive issue. And without the proper amount of support, our success is, we're going to have a much harder time successfully eradicating pests like Koki frog and little fire ant and others. So I just wanted to leave the board with that. And I'll leave my card. And if anybody wants to contact me further about some of the more nitty gritty aspects of invasive management or Koki frog management, please feel free to contact me at any time. Thanks.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Great. Thank you, both of you. And both informations is at the table? Okay, the contact. Okay, awesome. Mahalo. Moving on to elected officials, Congressman Ed Case. Nope, no report. City Council Member Calvin Say.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be very brief. My report is in the chat, and if there is any announcements, I wanted to thank the Pālolo Neighborhood Board in supporting the cleanup at Pālolo Housing, Renell, Darlene, and so forth. Other than that, in the website links for the residents out there, there's a link in regards to real property tax timeline and the important dates filing for your exemption. The Kuahia Street Stabilization Project is in the website also. There's also individuals who are affected on Pālolo Avenue and 10th Avenue, where there may be a lot of speeding. There's a sign up for Complete Street newsletter from, let's say, from Carlos Long all the way to Wailai. You could have a complete street, which is Pālolo, and trying to address the traffic conditions as far as speeding, etc. I believe Deputy Director Mamizuka will talk about the CIP projects. And other than that, for Sydney folks, the Kuahia Place, our office has been working closely with the Department of Design and Construction and the Corporation Council to work with the residents that live on Kuahia Place. Currently, the Department of Design and Construction is in its investigative phase, and additional information will be provided to the public as it becomes available. So for those who are interested, please visit our Kuahia Street Stabilization Project website for additional information. For our constituents of the month, this is one in regards to speed bumps at the corner of 10th and Ka'au Street, concerns at 3555 Keanu Street, vacant cottages, construction of a monster home at 1816 Pālolo Avenue, where you can see it. If you're on 10th Avenue, you can see it right across the valley. That's the big monster homes, which they have now reduced it in size by some inspectors going out, city inspectors going out to have them do it. Other issues were in regards to the Department of Planning permit and fines, concerns about the safety of our streets. And finally, for those that use 10th Avenue, I apologize. I hope the Department of Transportation Services and the Department of Facility and Maintenance will try to repair the bent sign on 10th Avenue right next to the church, the entrance to the church on 10th Avenue. There's that sign that was, I don't know, hit by an automobile. So that's the report for this month, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Randy.
On 3555 Keanu Street, there is a house along with the cottages that recently burned. It's been cited, I understand, by the city for demolition.
Okay.
Could you check into that?
Yep.
It's the same property that has the cottages that are vacant.
Okay. Yep. I know where that is. Thanks. Randy, I know where that is. Okay. Please, any other questions? Residents? It's nice to see the families from Waimau up here this evening, but thank you.
Thank you so much, Calvin.
Thank you. Calvin, do we get to see you next month too? Yay! Thank you. Okay. Yes. Deputy Director Mamizuka.
Hello and good evening. Warren Mamizuka, the Deputy Director for the Department of Facility Maintenance. So I just want to start off with the mayor's newsletter. Just a few highlights for the last month. There's going to be some information on the city's proposal to raise sewer fees, and these sewer fees are the first since 2016. So, and I also believe that the director, Dr. Roger Babcock for Environmental Services, along with his deputy director, Michael Keefe, will be presenting to all neighborhood boards. So that's the schedule is being worked on. So, we can expect, environmental services to be here to present the increase, the rate increases. Also, there's a recap of October's Pride Month in Honolulu, including the mayor's appearance in the Pride Parade. Also, there's details on updated flood maps from FEMA and what it could mean to homeowners. Also, there's a remarkable true story of an open ocean rescue featuring an Oahu student athlete and city first responders. I believe lifeguard Kealauna, he actually, he was off duty, and then he went out and he started to search and found that kayaker from Kamehameha School. So, we actually had a ceremony last week, Mayor's Awards. Lifeguard Kealauna won an award for outstanding employee for ocean safety. So that was great. Also, the reopening of the popular Haj Laron baseball field in Waipahu has just opened after a $4 million repair and upgrade to the field and to the facility there. And Amelia, if you could please add the link to the chat. Yeah. So if you have chance, take a look at it. And then one more thing from the Neighborhood Commission office, the Neighborhood Board Plan Review. The Neighborhood Commission's Neighborhood Plan Committee began meeting to conduct a comprehensive review of the neighborhood plan. A presentation with more information is available in your board's Google Drive. The committee currently meets on the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m. If you have any questions, please contact the Neighborhood Board Commission office. So last month's issue, there was only one. This was by, brought to our attention by member Kawamoto. It's the Monster Home on 10th Avenue. Recently undergone renovations. The board would like to request information from DPP to know if the property's renovations were permitted to extend their parking. For context, Board Kawamoto shared the house has gotten bigger, and they have also extended their driveway ramp by taking away a sidewalk, which removed street parking for residents in the area. So DPP, they're still doing some research on that. So I didn't get any response tonight, but I'm sure we'll get one for next month. Yeah. So that's all for the any updates from the mayor's office. But I wanted to add that we're coming soon is the Kapolei City Lights, which is November 30th out in Kapolei. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. We have Show Aloha Land, who was at the Aloha Stadium. He'll be installing some of his light displays out in Kapolei. There's a 50-foot mega tree right in the front of Kapolei Hale. There'll be some bouncers. There's some other light displays attached to the building. And then for Honolulu City Lights, I'm the coordinator. So we have opening night Saturday, December 7th. If you haven't drove past Honolulu Hale lately, you should. Everyone should be excited. We do have two co-sponsors this year. It's the Friends of Honolulu City Lights. They've been with the city for 40 years as a sponsor. We'll have our traditional Santa Claus and tutu mele and some scrolls. It's the 40th anniversary. Also, the second co-sponsor is Show Aloha. And we have some light tunnels, some arches with some motifs. And there's some motifs along Alapa'i and Baratania Street. And we'll have some trains, but it won't be operating on opening night because we're expecting a very large crowd. So, if you want to bring your child, grandchildren, bring them on your opening night to see, Mayor turn the switch on and all the lights will come on. And there's a few other surprises that I won't mention at this time. You got to come and see it for yourself. And train rides will begin Sunday, December 8th. Yeah. So I can take any questions from the board and residents.
And board, I just wanted to thank Deputy Director Mamizuka because these are the department and the workers that picked up the 5 tons of trash that came out of Pālolo Plantation, along with other trash. This is the man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilmember Se. He recognized our crews that came out also for the cleaning of Makiki Stream on King Street, on the corner of King Street and Kalakaua. So earlier this month, Council Se did recognize our gang from Halava, Pro City, and Kailua Corporation Yard. So yeah, thank you. Yeah. So any questions?
No. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Green's representative, LA Mudson.
Aloha, good evening, everyone. Kiele Amundsen, Communications Director with HAIMA, representing the Governor's Office. I just want to report on a few highlights coming out of the Governor's Office. On October 10th, the Governor signed the 9th proclamation relating to affordable housing, bolstering efforts to build more than 13,000 affordable housing units for working class families over the next 3 years. Also, the Governor's Office, along with key supporters and partners, help announce the launch of the inaugural Hawaii High School girls flag football season, which is set to kick off this spring. Hawaii is now the 12th state to sanction the sport at the high school level. Next, the University of Hawaii Cancer Center has received a 5-year designation from the Federal National Cancer Institute. This designation places the UH Cancer Center in the top 4% of all cancer centers in the US and recognizes its high quality and impactful work in the global fight against cancer. This honor comes with an $11 million support grant. Next, the Department of the Attorney General has launched a webpage resource for mental health and substance abuse support. This resource can be found on the Department of AG's website, which I will place in the chat box. And the State Department of Labor and Industrial Relations will be holding a job and resource fair on Friday, November 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information, you can visit their site, which I will also place in the chat box. To read up on all additional events and highlights in the governor's Kealoha newsletter, you can go to governor.hawaii.gov. One last item, Governor Green announced the closure of state executive branch offices on Friday, November 29th, in recognition of the Thanksgiving holiday. I believe most state facilities will be closed on this date. And finally, I'd like to wish everyone a very safe and bountiful Thanksgiving. Pending any questions, that's the end of my report.
Chair, I have a question.
Go ahead, Randy.
Yes, Kelly, the governor's been doing some good work on forgiveness of tuition for certain health professions, forgiveness on student loans for certain health professions. Could you maybe next time talk a bit about that?
Absolutely. I will find out more information on that.
And especially see whether the that program for forgiveness of student loan debt for health professions be expanded if possible. Thank you.
No other questions from the public? I think we're good. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Representative Jackson Sayama.
Aloha, Chair, members of the board. Apologies, couldn't be there in person today. Been having a late evening at the Capitol as I prepare to move offices. So I will, once I figure out where I'm moving, I will let the board know so that you could visit me in my office at the Capitol. But just want to thank everyone for their support and their vote of confidence. I am proud to serve Pālolo Valley once again for another 2 years in the State House of Representatives. And, you know, some of the events that have been going on, of course, I want to thank Councilmember Say, Dan Donnell from Trees for Honolulu, those leadership teams and residents at the Pālolo Public Housing, and those who came for 808 cleanups for that amazing cleanup project that we had at the Pālolo Public Housing during that very, very rainy weekend. While we weren't able to necessarily clean up the Pālolo stream, we did a fantastic job clearing out, I don't know how many tons of trash that was left over the years behind the public housing. So with that, hopefully we could continue to, you know, expand the public use for that green area for the residents of Pālolo Valley, as well as those at the public housing. Did want to note that at the end of the month, we will have a Keep It Kaimuki event along Waialae Avenue supporting the small businesses. So I think there's going to be a trolley bringing people from Ali'olani Elementary all the way down Waialae to those small businesses. So it will be a very festive day. Please bring your friends, family. You know, it's going to be a great time for everyone. Along the same note, we will also have hosted by KBPA, Kaimuki Business Professional Assembly, the annual Kaimuki Christmas Parade. So please take note that on that day, Waialae Avenue, parts of Waialae Avenue will be closed for the parade. I'm sure some of you have participated in the past, but if you haven't, please come out. It's really fun for the children as well. And if you'd like to participate in the parade, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to have you join us in the parade on the month of December. But with that, I will be keeping the board updated on any legislative priorities that will be coming up as I receive also new legislative committee assignments. So I will be stepping away from the Consumer Protection and Commerce Committee. I do not know yet what my committee assignment will be, but that will determine a lot of what I introduce as a legislator. But if you do have any legislation that affects our community directly, please let me know, and I'd be happy to work with you to get those legislations passed. With that, I'm open to questions.
Do we have any questions here? Okay. And it looks like Pua had responded to your question. It said 5 tons of green waste and 5 tons of construction debris materials, 5 tons of metal waste. So that was from the cleanup, and definitely like how Representative Jackson Sayama mentioned, we're so grateful for everyone that participated in that cleanup, including himself. That was in the rain. Yes, it was very rainy that day. We were hoping to clean up the stream, but nature took care of it for us and took it down the Alawai. Council Member Calvin Say, as well as Director Warren Mamizuka's team. So thank you everyone for participating. No questions for you, Representative, at this time. We appreciate your time and checking in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Leslie Hara. Okay. So it states, aloha, I have a meeting at the Capitol tonight and will not be able to attend tonight's Pālolo Neighborhood Board meeting. Contact my office manager, Melissa, if anyone has any questions. Thanks. And moving on to announcements. Next meeting is scheduled for December 11th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Same place here at Pālolo Elementary and online. Yes. So after that meeting, it's going to be a very brief meeting, and then we'll move into our transition into our holiday potluck. So everyone is welcome to bring a dish, their favorite dish to share, and I hope you folks can make it. Okay. All right. This is rebroadcast of Pālolo Neighborhood Board. Number 6, meetings are scheduled each month in Olelo, Channel 49, for 4th Thursday at 9 p.m. and the 1st and 3rd Sundays at 12 p.m. An archive of past meetings may be found online as well, olelo.org, by searching Pālolo. All right, meeting adjourned.